go to the place, you set up your tents. Some people that turn up out of nowhere who know this shaky hands routine and teach you the shaky hands routine.
Was sort of set up by people who did some of the university occupations last year. Like we started in October as well. But I don't think anyone had any idea that we'd still be going now.
Occupy has its process of doing things, and it's these consensus meetings. When did you come across realising that then? As soon as you arrived?
Yeah, well no, like within the first week kind of thing, like yeah.
So this is their process? This is the Delphi technique.
And after a while did it come to be apparent that there's a way that the thing is organised, and there's some organisers actually who keep it going and who teach people how to communicate in it.
It's changing who's actually organising on the ground.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is what we're all finding as well.
Did everybody give the permission for these people to be
Is empty get in for the hey?
There are some people travelling around this planet who are training people in countries all over the world how to hold these revolutions that are democratic new democracy revolutions. And what we're experiencing on the ground inside in this thing is that it's basically a government that's pushing a new age agenda.
If you want to make a point, you know, if you want to say something to the group, if you want to offer something, you stick your hand in the air like this, and I'll do my best. People behind me just tell me or whatever. I'll do my best to try to make sure everyone gets a chance to speak if they're brief and all of that.
Before we start, can we have a change of facilitators? Someone random. Why are people on trial here? Because it seems this is one of the grievances I've got, is the way the process is set up. It doesn't actually, I don't think it's working. People are still arguing, people are still breaking said rules that are being set up by this process. And the thing is, it seems to be the same facilitators. I think it should be.
Harmony tonight then. One now. I'm quite happy that someone else will. Okay, temperature from Mark being the facilitator.
Okay, we agree.
That's what we need.
Like each time I sat there in the meeting, I put my hand up and I went to ask a question, a simple one question, and it was like, you seem to be here talking about all the problems, creating a body of rules which actually exposes what more problems are, so you feel the duty to go and enforce these rules because you're part of this so-called movement, and this duty is there because the GA made a consensus, so I have to do it. And it comes to the situation where part of the legal team come down with a CO2 gas canister and put out a little flame on a candle in front of 8 people sitting there in a circle. It's like, that's disgusting behaviour from somebody who's on this invisible hierarchy. And he's grabbed hold of the fire extinguisher and sprayed it whilst everyone's sitting there, and it's just like, you're mental, mate. You shouldn't be allowed to do that, and that is like a seriously violent action. Now, if somebody done that or hit somebody whilst holding a can of beer, they would have been kicked out of this building. But because the guy is on the legal team, it's like, oh, we're going to have to like deal with this another way. Now, on top of that, they're discussing using their own monetary system, their own climate count money. And then on top of that, this is the punchline of it all now, a census. Does anybody actually know whose idea or format this? Because this format, the Occupy thing, it's actually got its own handbook, its own toolkit, and it's all the same format that's happening in Bristol, Dublin, Toronto, everywhere. It's exactly the same format. Anybody know whose idea it was, who passed this?
Well, before we go into that, we're going to finish this.
Okay, cool. Delphi technique!
The main point is that this Delphi technique thing applied through the 99% thing means that none of what the 99% have been put up to do by the popular movement from the media, none of that is even getting talked about anymore.
Clinic set up a secret meeting and they're deciding between 10 of them. And then we go up to the meeting and things are trying to get addressed about it, and then they're scooting off onto like the copper being stolen from the building. And what should we do about it? Well, I think the people that have stolen it should replace it with money, and it's like, you're not mental. You're just talking about one issue. When you can't deal with that one issue, you'll scoot onto something that you've been planning on talking about all day long.
What we don't see is practical ideas people either. And it's really like you're making a conscious effort to dissociate yourselves from the rest of us. Whereas we're a unified camp system.
There's a caretakers coordinated floor. There is basically people who work very hard with the project. The people who planned to open this building for a month before, and the people who came in who were the first 20 odd people who took the building and worked very hard to open it. There is also a tech hub up there. This is all. There is also like 2 or 3 secure rooms where we lock up video projectors and laptops, because we've had about 6 or 7 laptops.
Could you just say that on the camera? Would you be?
No,
okay. No, you don't want to do that. That's okay. So that door locked there? Can we not go in?
Sorry.
Why can't we go in?
Because people's rooms?
Oh, but it says authorised personnel only.
Yeah. Like for the day.
So who are the authorised personnel?
Either security when they need to get on the roof, or the people that live in those rooms.
Yeah, but some of the people that live here downstairs are not allowed to come up here.
Well,
How's that?
not their room.
Yeah, but you just can go downstairs where they're sleeping.
But I wouldn't go in their room. Can you not film me, please?
Okay, yeah.
I said, okay, let me say it again. And I said it about 5-6 times. Each time that I said, you're setting up a body of rules. The rules don't work because people are still breaking them. Your process of putting these rules in place does not work. It's the same 6 people that are voting it in with their shaky hands. This isn't working. And the woman said, well, what I think he's trying to say is about the candle. It's like, so I've put my hand up again. It's like, look, you're diverting away from what I'm saying. What happened down St Paul's was I started asking the finance team, where's the money going? Why is it going into Climate Camp Action bank account? Who are the signatories of the account? No, speed it up. This is very, very important. When you have like general assemblies and you've got 40, 50 people sitting there, you'll get the core 6 people, which will be the facilitator, people sitting next to a facilitator and a couple of people dotted around the room, all shake their hands, and then like there'll be a few people go, yeah, I think I'll vote for that. And it's like, what are you voting for? Oh, I'm not too sure. Why was you asked to tell me to go? And by who? If you're going to try and overthrow something that's invisible or pretending that it is non-hierarchy, when it plainly is, you've got to work out who the hierarchy is. Then you find Climate Camp connections through their bank account at St Paul's, Climate Camp Action, and then you say to the actual finance team, where's the money going? It's going into Climate Camp Action bank account. Why is it going there? Oh, because the General Assembly decided this. So that's the people from Starbucks that actually vote stuff in, and then like they clear off home. So they're voting in what's actually happening when all these bank accounts have been set up like 3 years ago.
I've written a letter to Camp, St Paul's, handed it in, asked him for information. I've got no response. I did speak to the guy you directed me to speak to about the Camp's finances. Well, I've already spoken to about the Camp's finances and didn't tell me anything. The camp is the camp and the organisation is behaving a bit like the very institutions that it's complaining about.
Exactly.
And finances are a very, very important thing because whoever's controlling those finances controls a lot.
Exactly.
So please be open about your finances. Somebody needs to sort that out, really.
That's your one to help you. I can help you.
Okay.
And like I say, I've just gently asked Phoenix the first question and all of that, which the first question that came up is how is the Climate Camp bank account associated with St Paul's? He's like, oh, I don't know, is it associated? And I'm like, well, apparently. And he's like, finance would know about that. And then the security guy who's standing beside him goes and explains that initially it was as a transitory kind of thing, and then Phoenix goes, there you go, it was just there for a little while is what Phoenix says. And he walks off before everyone's going, yeah, but it never got sorted out and nobody knows what happened then, it never got changed to anything, did it? But he's left. This was only me and Phoenix in the room, then the security guy came along and joined along with him, then there's 3 or 4 of them around. He didn't just sit down and even take one question as a talk to each other thing, but we discussed that he's going, the whole place is just falling apart, it's all falling apart, that's what happens when people don't give a shit. I'm saying, have a look around, man, look at this room, is lovely and sorted out. Yeah, he's going, it's great when a room is sorted out. I'm going, well, at least this room has been sorted out so recently it's not falling apart, and look, it's only me and you in here and it's peaceful. Maybe we'll chat. And he's trying to take the lock off the door so that they can't lock themselves in.
Did they take the lock out in the end?
Yeah, that's what he did while I was there.
So, is that a rule for every door here?
No, that's for people who aren't trusted or only here until they get kicked out.
Okay.
I would imagine.
Who makes these decisions? Who's trusted or not?
His excuse was they're locking the doors up here because they've got projectors and laptops up here. They keep getting stolen.
Well, they've got security and they've got this big body of rules and they can't deal with it.
But first, the lassie went, oh, it's because people live up there. I said, well, people live downstairs, so you can go down to their living quarters, but they can't come up to your living quarters. Why is that? I said, it's a bit of segregation here.
Then on top of that, you find this by Climate Camp. Right, have you seen this? This is a Climate Camp production, right? Now, you think they've got their own bank account and funds going in. Where's the money going? This is a free paper. And the last page is talking about Climate Camp and how it needs loads of people to run it, and it's deteriorated a little bit. But let's have a look at all the other movements that are going on, like the student movement. Green and Black Cross are really involved with them.
What are they?
Who? Climate Camp?
Green and Black Cross.
Green and Black Cross are like, they organise solicitors for actions and things like that. On this, where it's talking about the Climate Camp and how it needs to revamp and come back, down here it says, and you never know, all this activity might inspire another climate camp, or better than that, maybe training camp that spans the climate movement, student movement and UK Uncut, and a camp with a common future where things we hold collectively, the atmosphere, education, the health service are all discussed alongside how we could go about defending these social and ecological commons. And who knows where? In the middle of the square mile, perhaps? Question mark. So, like, is it Climate Camp that has been setting this up from, like, a long time ago?
I'm not sure why this question still hasn't been answered, but I'm quite interested as well. This Bank of Ideas registered company. Can you ask this question again?
Does anybody know who set this up?
Question.
This is 2009.
There's a workshop tomorrow.
It's the same one, Daisy Golding's the email.
2009.
Daisy Golding is the name.
What the hell rolls is that?
Because that's the name on the email for Optimi. It's a fictional name made up for Optimi. Because I looked at it and thought, okay, this could be something just totally coincidental, somebody setting up a company a few years ago. So what I've done at that point is looked at the registrant of the company. One was Beth something, and the other one was Daisy Golding. And you were one of the guys that I said Daisy Golding, and you said that was a fictional name made up for the Occupy movement. So how do you know that?
Well, because...
She's the, yeah, please.
Well, because the events that we were setting up for the Bank of Ideas, speakers and all of that coming in, when I was brought into the Bank of Ideas, the emails that were being sent to speakers to inquire whether they wanted to speak, and subsequently the replies they were sending back, they were under the name Daisy Golding.
Okay, yeah. So whose idea was that?
What?
Whose idea was that? 'Cause that's the registrant on the company.
That was people who were doing the events that was about.
Who? They're the guys that have registered this.
One was a lady called Una. I don't know her surname, and I don't know the other person.
I know the other person and I can ask them for you.
Please do.
I mean, I personally don't think it's of any relevance. A company was set up 2 years ago with the same name, loads of companies.
St Paul's, I know it's cold, but it has deteriorated in size, and that's down to people like the security or tranquility team or whatever they want to call themselves. They're like walking around like robots of the system, going, right, you can't do that, you can't do that. It's like, if you're going to be security or whatever you're going to label yourself, make sure somebody's secure, right? If there's somebody asleep in a chair outside the tea tent or whatever, cover them up in blankets. Don't push them and go, you can't sleep here.
But this building was offered out to the common law kind of people. And we were trying to chat to the people down in St. Paul's and make it all be linked together. And just found you couldn't make any of these links. These people who you would link with were like mist.
When I first came down here, it was a real grassroots movement. A lot of people that were concerned about the way the country's heading, and yeah, they were here to voice their opinion. And since then, since the GAs have moved in and started to take control over the camp, a lot has changed. And the way they did it was very stealthily, because at first the General Assembly meetings were a platform for expression and for people to share their ideas with the camp. And then once they'd established an authority over the camp, they began to enforce rules on not just how the camp's going to run, but on the individuals themselves. So it just goes to show, really, when they're hiding their faces and they don't like transparency, it's quite revealing, isn't it? They don't like cameras on the site. A lot of activists carry cameras nowadays, so it's quite, it's quite revealing.
Steve, you on this one?
You don't want to.
There's no reason why we can't film here, but they've gone to get their tranquility team now. So this is how it's turned out at St. Paul's. It seems that it's no longer the 99%.
It's like saying to somebody that worships Jesus under Christianity, that you're a devil worshipper. They'll be like, no, I'm not. Well, how can you say that? And it's like saying the same thing about people that are involved with the Occupy movement. You say to them, well, what you're doing could be part of an inside job. And they're like, oh, and it's like, I'm not actually directing that at you, and it's either your ego getting you carried away because you can't debate it back, or because your heart's so far in it, you're being blinded by what you truly believe in.
That's it. People do want to believe.
Free